I'd been working the day that the bite happened. It's not something that I talk about often. That day, I had been working on one of the animatronics in the service room. The facial mechanisms weren't moving, so I had been repairing the endoskeleton's face. There was no hurry since his suit had gone missing the day after I stripped the character. I was messing around with the animatronic's eyes when the sound of kids laughing and shouting joyfully turned into horrified screams. I ran out of the back room to see what was going on. It it was awful. Blood dripped from the flesh stuck to the character's jaw. I couldn't even look at the victim lying in front of the stage. I immediately vomited at the sight of the mess on the animatronic. As the kids fled into the arms of their terrified parents, the curtains to Kids Cove started to creep open. Foxy's show was pre-programmed to start at regular intervals throughout the day. The customers remaining in the show area waiting for the crowd to move outside looked in horror as Foxy, unaware of the situation, took his place of pride on stage. Children who would normally cheer screamed at the sight of Foxy. Management shouted at me to turn him off and close the curtains. Startled out of my nausea, I did what I was told and shut him down. After drawing the curtains to Kids Cove, I went to shut down the other characters, though they had all stopped moving since the outbreak of panic. After the ambulance left, managers ordered for all staff to clean up the stage in the dining area, but they pulled me back into the back room. They looked at me expectantly, waiting for an explanation as to why an animatronic would attack someone. I was stunned. I designed and took care of these characters. I didn't know what happened or what would cause them to bite. Heck, I didn't even know if they'd hurt a kid or an adult. They ordered a full closure of the restaurant that night. A few months after the story had blown over in the news and all the settlements had been paid, I was called back to the restaurant. All the characters stood in their places, a layer of dust dulling their sheen. We were moving back to the original Freddy Fazbear restaurant, and they wanted to keep me on as the animatronic technician. It was agreed that we would retire the newer animatronics for the time being and use the older models. Setting up everyone for their big return to the stage, I could see staff looking over the new Pirates Cove. Tension thick in the room. Not many of the original staff were kept on, and the news never disclosed which animatronic was dangerous. Seems that management had taken a vow of silence on this subject as well. Measures had been taken to limit the characters to their stage areas. It was a step back from the routines that we had before, but it would still be entertaining for the kids. On the day of our reopening, I was ordered to watch each animatronic closely. Management had posted signs all over the place for customers not to touch the characters, but kids never pay attention to warnings like that. Generally, the shows went pretty well. Apart from Bonnie moving more than the others on stage, there wouldn't be a lot I need to update. Or so I thought. Foxy was really beaten up before the move. Kids had been grabbing at him at the previous location, so I put on his other suit. It was still torn in several places, but it was the best I could do at the time. He looked a lot better compared to his former self, and without the falling apart femme Foxy, his stage was more tailored to him. I thought it'd be a great attraction. When it came time for Foxy's big return to the stage, I couldn't believe the reaction. Kids started crying, looking at Foxy with hesitation. Parents heard the children back from stage, and whispers rumbled throughout the restaurant. The customers were aware of the bite, and assumed that the culprit was right in front of them. That night, as we closed up for the day, management approached me in a humble manner. They wanted to shut Foxy down. I didn't want to, but I understood that the public's aversion to Foxy would mean that the business would close for good, and all the characters would be retired. I closed Foxy's curtain as I rewired him. I was about to shut him down, but then a thought occurred to me. If I shut Foxy down completely, his endoskeleton would seize up, and if I couldn't fix that once the rumours blow over, they'd get rid of him for good. But since there was no one here at night, I quickly restricted Foxy to his old free roam mode and his programming to be active over the closing hours. I did it for his overall benefits. If one day Foxy could perform again, I wanted him to be able to do that. I finished up and put an out of order sign outside Pirates Cove. No one ever said anything about why I didn't move Foxy into the back room, and no one ever questioned why I wasn't planning to repurpose Pirates Cove. Not that I had time to do either of those things. I had to fix the endoskeleton in the back. I had to fix that animatronic's jaw.